So, one thing about everyone that I love is when they take chances and do things they weren't expecting to do, the best stuff happens. And I just made a new friend. Maybe I can call him that. Can I call you my friend?
Yes, you can.
Awesome. I just met this gentleman maybe 30 seconds ago approximately, taking pictures of this really awesome cafe that I'm going to come back to. And I don't even know your name yet. What's your name? Armin.
Yes.
It's really nice to meet you. You told me you were into acting.
Yes.
So you have no problem being on camera.
Of course not.
Awesome. Well, I just learned an appreciation for acting. I thought it was a really superficial, kind of weird thing, but it's actually quite epic and quite old.
Definitely. I started, I'm a 13-year musician. I've only been acting for 2 years.
Wow.
So when I started doing acting, I saw it more as, not as acting, but as living something through yourself. So I used to think acting was like that too, like, oh, you're just putting up this, really act, you're just putting up this fake front. But I realized that no, you can most deeply connect with a character when you let it flow through you, just like you would a song. And so that's the only way I've ever been able to act. Some of my friends, they act, they create that other person. But to me, I can never do that. I have to make it personal. So that's what I see in it. So I kind of learned the same thing just by experience. It kind of just stumbled upon me,
Does it help you, like, in your normal day-to-day life?
Oh yeah, just keeping my cool in situations where I wouldn't, normally possibly, or situations I might be uncomfortable, or have to talk to people or convince people of something, or, just that social interaction to appear comfortable and confident when you might be a little unsure. So it's fun,
Were you ever afraid of it?
Oh yeah, and usually, like, before I go on stage each time, for music or for acting, there's an element where you have these butterflies in your stomach, that nervousness, but it's that fear, the energy that can drive you. I think if you try and resist it, that's when you get nervous, but if you just flow with it, that's the energy you need to have a really good performance, I think.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder how many people have felt like that since, like, the dawn of man. That's a very, like, it could be like approaching a woman, or it could be like giving birth, or it could be like so many things. It's all kind of that same, I'm sure there's a word for it in some language. What things maybe haven't you explored yet that maybe you're still maybe like a little afraid of or something?
Oh wow. Explored. You know what, I'm not really sure. I haven't thought of that too much. I mean, right now my sights are really set on, the arts of acting and music.
Cool.
I suppose there's always some roles in acting, that, or maybe some, characters that might push you to a limit where you're uncomfortable. I've ran into definitely, a few of those, or, maybe playing certain types of music I've always wanted to that I've never been able to, that, just, I don't see mixing with my personality. It's about taking the risk, even though it's something I'm so comfortable with, doing something in a different way that you've never done before.
Yeah, so getting more depth in it.
Yeah, just willing to explore. When you feel like you're so familiar with something, to continually be ambitious enough, ballsy enough really to say, okay, let's put a different twist.
Yeah.
Let's do this in a way we've never done before, to make something so familiar seem totally new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a different kind of question.
Okay.
Maybe like maybe somewhat political, or maybe I shouldn't say that, but what's something that people, like, you think should be thinking about, like, no matter where they live, or like just like everybody in the world or whatever, thinking about, like, that's like relevant to today?
I think everyone should always be on a local level and global level thinking about, well, how can you take what you're good at, what you're passionate about, what you put energy into, how can you take that to help other people? I think that starts with being aware of what's going on around you, both in the immediate vicinity, whether it's personal relationships you have, or, things going on in your own city, in your country, and other countries.
Yeah.
So you can't save everyone. You can't always live in a way that's going to benefit everybody, and you can't always help everybody, but just to be aware of it, for one.
Yeah.
To think, okay, here's what's going on, here's what I have, and here's where I stand, and here's what I can do to care for the things I care about. I think that's so important that we sometimes lose scope of, both in a local context and in the global context. And for me, that's I'm Armenian American, so the topic of genocide has always been really, really hot for me. The Armenian genocide is still denied to this day by the Turkish government. Wow. So the idea of the cycle of genocide, as it's continued through history, up until places like in Sudan and Syria are still happening today, like, to me, that's the thing I think most about. Like, okay, to think about outside this world, everyday people are just scared for their lives, and it's like this changes everything. So that's one example for me. It's something that I think about, kind of, and shape my actions around, and shape my long-term goals around. Anything specific in the political?
Not really. One thing I'm reminded of is there's a lot of actors who do philanthropic work, and they're really in the focus of a lot of people, so they're in a really good position. But there's also a lot of actors or actresses who have like really made a difference politically, or even held like elected office or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I bet a lot of them didn't ever see themselves being in that position either. But maybe you could be making decisions or helping make decisions for people one day, and like, I don't know.
Well, that's honestly, with acting and music, the one reason why I see it, what I've valued getting publicity with it. It's not for self-gratification, because I love the art intrinsically, but I see it as, people who are recognized for art. They have voices like no one else, because people can connect to art in ways they can connect to nothing else. So an artist, even though you're playing your art, you're doing your art, you're acting, you're doing music, painting, whatever, and it's great, but at the same time you have this voice, this opportunity to raise awareness to so much, to do so much good, and to inspire people to do good as well. And to me, that's the value I see in publicity for the art. And so I would love to bring it to that level. That's really my ultimate goal, is to be doing what I love most, my art, while at the same time helping people in the most direct, effective way by speaking out and encouraging them to speak out for themselves. I think that's so powerful. So that's ultimately what I want to do. And right now, it's you're not guaranteed to be able to get to that level where you have that loud of a voice, because it's so competitive in the acting world and the music world and the artistic world. It's just, but you just do everything you can.
Well, I'm happy to give you a little bit of exposure this way. Maybe you can show people this video or something, and say some random dude just started talking to you. I'm doing some little movies about. I might make a bigger film out of it about cannabis, healing people's tumors and like a lot of pain and stuff. And there's a lot of actors who are outspoken about that.
Totally.
Any opinion on that?
I think that just as we study all these other kinds of drugs and treatments for all these kinds of diseases, when you have scientific evidence that something, especially something natural, can legitimately help people, from everything with, PTSD to, cancer therapy to this and this, if it's something that's that helpful, you ignore it just because of the fact that it itself is illegal. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you look at stuff like painkillers are derived from opium, or derivatives of heroin, oxycodone, morphine. Like, sure, heroin's illegal, but these derivatives of it do a great good to help people who are medically in pain, and they use it in hospitals. And to me, why would you ignore something even more natural that could have an even greater good to people? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I agree with that.
Let me ask you a different question. Let's say this will be the last question for now.
Okay.
Unless there's, anyway, what is there anything that you just personally want to say? Let's say like maybe everyone in the world could see this video or something like that. Is there anything that you might, I don't know.
I would say
maybe if you can get into that situation in your actor method or whatever, and like everybody in the world is in this little camera right now in my hand.
Take your dreams seriously. The right thing to do is the right thing to do, no matter what the cost. Bettering yourself is bettering your desire to help other people. I wish I could spend hours preparing something more vivid and descriptive.
Hey, well, if you want to, man, I would love to speak with you anytime. You seem like a very genuinely philanthropic and loving, caring individual. And those are the types of people I like to spend time with and help succeed, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome, man. I'm really glad I got your attention.
You seem like an awesome person as well. It's just cool to see other people who are just open and looking to, explore and talk with others, and who are open-mindedness is so ridiculously important.
Let me shake your hand, dude.
Awesome.
So good to meet you, man. My name is Miguel.
Miguel.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a blog I'm not really keeping up with, and I'm trying to keep it going, and I have a lot of different dreams or whatever, trying to follow them all. But one of the things I like to do most is like help either people like blossom, or like help people get like pay attention to people who are starting to blossom, you know,
Yeah.
because it's really inspiring, and
Totally.
everybody's like a flower, man. Everybody's so beautiful inside, but sometimes we're really like,
Yeah, we all
really
have
tensed up.
potential. You just have to relax and let it, like, bloom is the perfect word.
totally.
Definitely.
Totally. Sometimes it even hurts, you know, you gotta like rip open a little bit to
I think
bloom, but
sometimes, you know, something has to be broken before it reaches its full potential.
word.
Really, no, really, I've learned that a few times now, especially, you know, in like the past year. But that's the thing. Like, being strong isn't about whether or not you fail or whether or not you break or you fall down and feel scared, embarrassed, confused. It's about what you do when those things happen, because they will happen.
Yeah.
You can do your best to do your best, but the world is inevitable, and as long as you keep going, you're not going to fail. It's about what you do when those things happen. That's another thing, I think. So,
You're a gold mine of wisdom. That's what I'm starting to think, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna turn the camera off because my wrist is getting tired. I
That's
didn't bring a
fine.
tripod, but
That's